I'm in Phoenix Code and I want to boilerplate this project. So the first thing that I want to do is from the home screen, I want to select HTML5. Before up here, I could give this a name of HTML tutorial. This will create my root directory. And then down here for location, I'm going to click and I'm going to select my desktop. And I'm going to say select folder and create this project. And just to check that that's working, I'm going to go check my desktop right now. And here's my HTML tutorial folder. And I could see that inside of this folder, there's already some stuff in there, right? So everything that I'm seeing on this sidebar is a reflection of what's inside of this actual folder over here. So we have a couple of changes that we need to make. We already have our index.html file. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create the other HTML files over here. So I'm just going to right click, hit new file, and then just name this about.html, hit enter. And now I can see that that new file is there in my file tree. And if I check that folder again, about.html is also here. So anything that I do on this sidebar will reflect inside of that folder. And that's exactly what I want. I'm going to right click again and go and name this contact.html. Then I'm going to create my folders. So instead of hitting a new file, I'm going to go and select new folder, and I'm going to call this one assets. Then selecting that folder, I'm going to right click and select a new folder again. I'm going to call this one CSS and step and repeat this process for my images folder and for my JavaScript folder. And now I have two choices. I'm using Phoenix Code, so it automatically created these two documents. I could drag and drop these into their appropriate folders. In the case that I wasn't using that and those files weren't automatically generated, I'll get rid of these. So you can also delete things inside of Phoenix Code. So I just deleted those two files. I'm going to select the CSS folder, right click on it and select new file, and I'll create style.css. And inside of my JavaScript folder, I will right click, new file, and create script.js. So if I look inside of my root directory, HTML tutorial, I will see my assets folder. I will see my web pages, about, contact, and HTML. If I open up my assets folder, I will see that I have three folders: CSS, images, and JavaScript. If I open up CSS, I will see my style sheet. And if I open up my JavaScript folder, I will see script.js. Let's go take a look at the folder itself. So I go to my desktop. Here's HTML tutorial. And over here are about, contact, and index. If I go into my assets folder, I will see my three folders. If I go into my CSS folder, I will see style.css. If I go into JavaScript, I will see script.js. And if I go into images, it should be in. So this is what we were looking for our boilerplate exercise. So here's an HTML tutorial, my assets folder, my three HTML documents over here. Inside the assets folder, I have CSS, images, and JavaScript. Inside of CSS, I have style.css. Inside of JavaScript, script.js. One thing to note, because I'm using Phoenix Code, it automatically comes in with this JSON file. It's not important for our web project. It's important for Phoenix Code to know what type of project this is. So I will leave it there until it's time to deploy. Then I'll remove that file when I need to move this up to a server. This is the end of the session. In this session, we discussed the differences between the client and the server and how they work together to create an experience when we're browsing the internet. We discussed the different languages that we will be covering in this web series, and we created a boilerplate for our very first HTML project. And we used a code editor to create a file structure for our very first website. Next up, we'll be covering HTML, how does HTML work, and some of the syntax that we use in order to generate a web page. See you there.